The 2012 Australian ATV Motocross Nationals, proudly brought to you by 4-Star Riders. 100 riders converged on the Maffra-Sale motocross track in Newry for the two-day event, which was hosted by the Maffra-Sale Motocross Club and the Quad Riders Club of Victoria. For the Pro Championship riders who had already completed the first two chapters of their three-round series alongside the Australian Motocross Nationals, the Newry weekend served as the championship decider. In a field comprised almost entirely of Northern Territory juniors, it was the only Victorian rider, Aidan Robinson, who had dominated 90 to 110 limited class with the 5 straight motor wins on his Yamaha Raptor 80 ahead of the Kawasaki of Michaela Condon and the Polaris Outlaw of Emma Lavicum. So completing the results, we have Aidan Robinson in first place, second place Michaela Condon, and in third place Emma Lavicum. It was Robertson once again who made the best of his opportunity in the 125 comp class. His one moto win and a bag of second places enough to boost him and his Raptor 125 to the top spot when the dominant Cobra rider James Ognenis had a DNF in the third moto. Ognenis managed to hold third overall with his 4 moto wins just behind the Raptor 125 of fellow West Aussie Jack Wilcox. For the junior modified, we have Aidan Robinson in first place, second place Jack Wilcox, third place James Ognenis. Favourite for the girls 200 to 300cc championship, South Australian rider Kristen Ellis had to recover from an issue in the opening motor that saw her down in the third to win the following 4 motors convincingly ahead of Rebecca Lloyd. Northern Territory's Lloyd taking second in each race, while Hayley Housel's mechanical problems after the first motor saw her manage third overall. For the 200 to 300cc girls, we have Kristen Ellis in first place, second place Rebecca Lloyd, third place Hayley Housel. One of the most dominant juniors at the national level in recent years has been Chris Bosnakis from Western Australia, and as expected, he again dominated at Newry, taking 4 of the 5 whole shot and 4 out of 5 wins. Even with a DNF in the final moto, it was enough to take his Apex 250 to another national title ahead of Yamaha rider Colin Robinson, whose consistency got him into second place, with most of the other top players in the class having problems in at least one moto. Third place getter Aston Oliver DNF'd in the opening moto, while New Zealand's Thomas Newton, who had second and third places regularly throughout the event, had a DNF in the third race. Cooper Van Vliet was another casualty after being in contention for a podium place with a mechanical DNF in the final moto. So completing the 200 to 300cc boys, we have Christopher Bosnakis in first place, second place Colin Robinson, and in third place we have Aston Oliver. Todd O'Leary from Hardyman ATV Kawasaki put on a show in the first veteran 35 to 44 moto with a convincing hole shot, but was quickly eclipsed by eventual champion Craig Blackburn from Queensland, who backed up his 2012 South Australian and Victoria motocross titles with a clean sweep of all 5 motos. Honda's Robert Booth rode hard for a solid second place overall, but not quite having the pace against Blackburn for a moto win, while David Lloyd rounded out the podium for third, narrowly edging out Ben Garrett's by 3 points. WEM's Kevin Williams showed his passion for ATV racing, coming up for a play in the vets class, managing a hole shot in the final moto with the assistance from factory Yamaha mechanics with his gate prep. In the vets 35 to 44, we have Craig Blackburn in first place, second place Robert Booth, and in third place David Lloyd. David Harris from WA opened his 2012 Nationals campaign, winning the opening moto flag to flag. It was old hands from New South Wales weighing in to keep things interesting though, Rick Beer and Pete Middleton both taking moto wins, and all 3 riders mixing up the top 3 spots in each moto. Beer won the title only by 6 points over Harris, who was in turn just 1 point ahead of Middleton at the end of the weekend. In the Vets 45, we have Rick Beer in first place, second place David Harris, and in third place we have Pete Middleton. The West Australians were set to dominate in the women's class as well, as the graded classes 2011 champion KTM Sarah Moore came prepared to defend her title, while Simone Gaisford, fresh from a recent state title win, wanted to step up from a second place at last year's Motocross Nationals. Gibson local Jeanette Lindsay took the whole shot in Moto 2 and was relegated back to 4th by the end of the first lap by Beer, Moore and Gaisford. It was Sarah Moore, however, that made it through the front, finishing ahead of Gaisford for her only moto win of the event, although she did hold shot and lead in Moto 3 until Gaisford got by on the final lap for her first of 3 moto wins for the weekend. In the women's overall, we have Simone Gaisford in first place, second place Sarah Moore, and in third place we have Melissa Davies. The Northern Territory's Hayden Bennett on his Can-Am DS450 dominated the Clubman class, one of the biggest in the program with 17 riders on the gate. Bennett took out 4 of the 5 races, with the only other race winner being Daniel Sotoggio, who got around a hard-charging Aaron Caldwell in the third moto for the lead, while Bennett had a massive moment coming back onto the start straight and could only hold together for third in that race. Ashley McGaw snuck in for a second overall ahead of Sotoggio on a countback after finishing ahead of him in the final moto. In the Clubman Championship, we have Hayden Bennett in first place, second place Daniel Sotoggio, and in third place we have Ashley McGaw. The intermediate class certainly put on a show for the weekend, as Sean Woodhead pulled off the first hole shot in Moto 1. Josh Hector and Anthony Pearce, both battling for second and third, had near incidents in the off-camber turn, along with Matthew Robbins, who fell back to 11th place. Anthony Pearce continued his battle with Josh Hector, eventually making the pass on the first turn. However, Woodhead's pace was too much for Pearce, where Woodhead finished in first, Pearce in second, Josh Hector in third. Moto 2 resulted in a race restart after this terrible accident for Matthew Robbins. Upon the restart, Woodhead produced another fine hole shot, followed by Anthony Pearce and Josh Hector. Pearce made the move into first and was able to maintain this position for the win. Hector fell from a third position to 6th, whilst Tyrone Robinson made a small error which allowed Ben Wade to move into third, and Robinson fell all the way back into 12th. Liam Glover then was in a battle with Ben Wade for third place, where Ben had made a small spin out, allowing Glover to move up. Glover was then on the tail of Woodhead, who made the pass on the starting straight. Pearce finished in first, Glover in second, and Woodhead in third. Third moto and third hole shot was an easy reward for Sean Woodhead. Woodhead was clinching onto a small lead in front of Harrison Van Vliet until Woodhead allowed Van Vliet to make an easy move into first. Pearce was quick to follow, putting the charge on Woodhead and moved into second. Pearce was now on the hunt for first, battling with Van Vliet until Pearce made a small error going off into the grass. Coming back on course, Ben Wade saw the opportunity to overtake but ended up clipping Pearce and suffering a terrible crash. Wade was now out of the race. The battle between Van Vliet and Pearce continued on, but Van Vliet was able to keep his nerve and finished Moto 3 with the win. Woodhead rounding out the results for third place. Moto 4 began well for Pearce, putting on a good ride, maintaining a first position for the entire moto. Likewise with Harrison Van Vliet, he held on to a second position whilst Liam Glover started behind Woodhead but made the move on the second lap into third place. Unfortunately, our camera crew didn't film the final moto, but Liam Glover put on a fantastic ride, starting in third place, finding his way past Van Vliet and Pearce to finish in first. Pearce maintained a second position, likewise with Van Vliet finishing in third for the entire moto. So for the quad intermediates, we have Anthony Pearce in first place. Second place, Liam Glover. Third place, we have Sean Woodhead after a countback from Harrison Van Vliet, finishing in a fourth place. Luke Gaisford, entering into this round, held a 19-point lead in front of Ryan Lancaster, meaning the championship was still up for grabs between the two riders. Ryan Lancaster, prepared to tighten the championship points gap on Gaisford, claimed the first hole shot for the weekend. Lancaster began to pull away from the field as the rain started to fall, creating a wet and slippery course for the riders. Gaisford was sitting comfortably in second, whilst Andrew Vincent was under pressure from a hard-charging Mitch Van Vliet in third place. Vincent held on though and finished in third for his efforts. Moto 2 began with another Lancaster hole shot followed by Andrew Vincent. Gaisford was sitting in fourth behind Mitch Van Vliet, eventually making the pass into third. Andrew Vincent made a small error which allowed Gaisford to move into second. Cameron Wade, putting on a good ride, moved his way into fourth place with Daniel Middleton following closely behind in fifth position. Meanwhile, in sixth, we had Jake Van Vliet, who was very lucky not to come off after this incident heading into the back straight. Lancaster was able to hold on to his first position even with a bent shift lever and being stuck in fourth gear for a portion of the moto. The second day and Moto 3 began well for Gaisford as he pulled his first hole shot, but then only to be quickly overtaken by Ryan Lancaster. Mitch Van Vliet following closely behind in third place. Jake Van Vliet, looking very fast, moved his way up to fourth place behind his brother. Jordan Dummett was unable to keep up his usual fast pace and settled for 8th position. The pressure was now on Gaisford as with only 2 motos left. Lancaster once again won the whole shot in Moto 4 and Gaisford starting off in an 8th place position. Mitch Van Vliet was sitting in second, being chased by Cameron Wade and Jordan Dummett, but unfortunately for Cameron Wade, he spun out in the off-camber corner, nearly colliding with a hard-charging Luke Gaisford. Gaisford moved up into third by the end of the second lap and closed down the gap on Mitch Van Vliet to then move up into second. Jake Van Vliet once again finished behind his brother in 4th position after battling with Jordan Dummett and Daniel Middleton for the majority of the 15 minutes. The final moto started with another poor start for Gaisford as Lancaster won his 4th hole shot for the weekend and started to build a very healthy lead. Gaisford was on fire, moving his way past Jordan Dummett, Jake and Mitch Van Vliet into 2nd position. Despite Lancaster's near-perfect weekend, this only gave him the round 3 win and 2nd for the series. Gaisford, being aware of the point situation, retained his 2nd position for the remainder of the race, to seal the championship series win. At the conclusion of the weekend, for the Pro Quads, round 3 overall result, we have Ryan Lancaster with a perfect win for 1st place. 2nd place, Luke Gaisford, and in 3rd place, we have Mitch Van Vliet. So for the Pro Quad Championships, we have Luke Gaisford winning the championship in 301 points. 2nd place we have Ryan Lancaster on 297. 3rd place Daniel Middleton. 4th place Mitchell Van Vliet. And in 5th position you have Joel Mortimer.